Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for March 20th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 79. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future. Was there jitter there? Anyway, we talk about 10 articles, and I'm blowing out the mix. All right, well, anyway, production value. I don't edit anything. I don't cut things out unless something borderline illegal takes place, like doxing and stuff like that. Or something gets mentioned. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put all of the articles in. No. I put the show notes in. Anyway, we're going to be talking about chewing gum is plastic, Pharmaemissions. It's pharmacological emissions. Pharmaemissions. Tesla recalling pieces of Cybertrucks, both on the road and now as a recall. Energica is up for sale. I don't know why I chose all of these articles. It seems like it's a hot mess. Bird flu sickens cats. ChatGPT AI accuses user of crimes. Cats may be good therapy animals. Not sure why cats are a hot topic in today's stream, but okay. And another novelist accused of bank robbery. And Spotify debuts hot concerts near you. And employee block lists are forming. So I have to do things a little wonky because I don't think that I can actually do this live. So we're going to do it like this. Boink, boink, boink. I have to do this one by one because I kind of I didn't put in all of today's articles. Anyway, you may want to rethink your chewing gum habit. It's essentially, oh, wait. The sentient AI. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens. Okay, let's go.
Well, since we're going to do this way, why don't I just do it the way that we normally do it, which is I am going to load up all of today's show notes here in Vivaldi, and I will do it live. We'll just walk right on through it, and this is how you do it too. So all you have to do is go over to ohmtown.com, and you can get all of the articles that you want, and click on the links that say visit the source, and you'll get taken to the source, because all we do is get a little bit of a headline and a little bit of the article, and it gets posted here in ohmtown.com in these 6 main categories, and then there's 50 channels, all of them with a unique tilt on a topic. So that is what we aggregate everything down into. So let's do this. So you may want to rethink your chewing gum habit. And hello, sentient AI from the future. I'm not trying to play catch up. I'm kind of derping all through this. And it seems like something really weird is happening. At any rate, let's try this for the third time, because third time's a charm. You may want to rethink your chewing gum habit. It's essentially plastic. I don't know what's going on here. But according to new research, chewing gum manufacturers have been hesitant to tell us that their product is essentially plastic and breaks down into those wonderful microplastics we've all been hearing much about. David Jones from University of Portsmouth in England published some research suggesting that chewing gum that freshens our breath and decorates the undersides of our children's school desks is made from synthetic oil-based rubbers similar to plastic used in car tires.
Wow. How many years has chewing gum been around? They're just getting around to this?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. So when you click the link, you get taken to the source, just like you or I would. And that's how this works. That's how ohmTown works. It aggregates just a little bit, and then we actually follow on to it while we're doing the show. And if you want all of today's show notes, you can hit !NSN over in the chat on Twitch or over on YouTube. So I just bombarded the chat with all of the articles that we're going to be talking about today. So there's 10 of them, and it's kind of, hopefully there wasn't some audio alert that went by because you just got 10 at least comments all at once in the chat. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, ding, 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 ding.
Oh, geez. So you might as well be chewing on car tires, according to this article. It's over at vice.com. Louis Prada put the article together. And it says, if you've not been thoroughly terrified by the mere mention of the word microplastics, allow the author of this to frighten you real quick. Damn near everything human beings manufacture is poisoning the world with tiny bits of plastic that end up embedded deep within every part of our bodies and get deposited on some of our most precious protected lands through rain. So they link to 2 other articles that they've done at Vice. We've probably highlighted this because we've been talking about micro and nanoplastics for the
and we've
last.
talked about how they've gotten to every place on Earth and every place in the body.
Yeah, everywhere from your brain to your buns, there is micro and nanoplastics. You gotta love it. So Jones says major gum manufacturers like Wrigley don't disclose these chemicals, the chemicals that make up the very embodiment of the gum and the world. They include styrene butadiene, polyethylene, polyvinyl acetate, compounds found in tires, plastic bags, wood glue, respectively. That's the substances used in chewing gum. So some people will freak out about this, but some of the stuff may or may not be okay. Like there are people that sit there and say, well, this chemical is used in vaccines that are used in engine coolant. It's not exactly the same thing, but
yeah, but like oxygen is used in a lot of different things, like flammable things or the air. I mean, the point is, it kind of depends on what it is, how it's used, etc.
Yeah, and I mean, you mention esters. People lose their mind, but it's not all bad. But in this particular instance, maybe it is, right? Do a little bit more digging and you find out. So let's see. It says Jones says major manufacturers like Wrigley don't disclose the chemicals behind the vague term quote unquote gum base. But now you'll know that whenever you see the term gum base on a back of Double Mint, you might as well be chewing on a set of Michelins and washing it down with a thick glass of Elmer's. The researcher went on to explain that 1.75 trillion pieces of gum are produced annually, with each one weighing about 1.4 grams. That means we're producing 2.4 million tons of chemical-filled microplastic-producing gum every year. Again, this is what the article is saying. Jones says cleaning up gum is just a band-aid on a larger wound. The real problem is that the gum itself is not biodegradable, and it ultimately just another microplastic pollutant alongside plastic water bottles, fast food wrappers, pretty much everything that factories churn out. So it says over time, decades to be exact, the gum fused to our roads and is hanging out in our grass, breaks down into microplastics that get absorbed into our soils and water supplies. And by absorbed, they don't mean absorbed and it just dissipates smoothly and it's all part of it. It just is nano and micro to the point where you don't really see it, but it's pervasive throughout the soil. It's pervasive in the water. We drink it. When rain falls on us, it has micro or nanoplastics in it. So there is more minutia in this article. I urge you to go over to it. And then embedded in there is a link to the conversation where they talk about chewing gum as plastic pollution, not a litter problem. And I suspect that that's part of. There is a lot of like science journalism that we kind of orbit around, and the conversation seems to have a lot of conversation about it.
Oh, the source, the conversation.
Yeah, because that's that link right there. The link that I'm pointing at.
They're definitely a good source of scientific information.
Yeah, it's interesting. And they're actually the people that write at the conversation are the authors of the research paper. They're scientists, tend to be. So yeah, chewing gum apparently is plastic. It's a composite of materials that is aligned with nano and microplastics.
Right, and these are the very things that we're trying to get rid of in other contexts. And meanwhile, we're ingesting them.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, I don't know what the scale is. I don't think this means that, oh my goodness, somebody had one piece of gum in their lifetime. It's not going to be a big deal, but across multiple quantities of this, or if you're a regular gum chewer.
Yeah, and I don't know if gum base is the same no matter what. I think there's a
It can't be, right? They probably all have different formulas, but maybe they're
Yeah.
using the same ingredients in different proportions.
Yeah, so I'll do a dive into this because I also the art of drink is something that I'm interested in, and they use uh, chemistry and mass in that program, and I've never really been one to worry about that kind of stuff because I look into it and I go, oh, okay, well this is a naturally occurring element or material. It just happens to have been distilled or whatever, fractionated into this one thing and given a scientific term, and so it's pure that. You dilute it with water or alcohol or whatever else, and it becomes something that is no more different than water. But anyway, let's keep going. You sound good?
Sounds good.
So, oh, and I'm trying something new out. I'm actually I'm using wireless in-ear monitors through a little bit of technology jerry rigging here. So if things come across a little quirky, you let us know. You can send an email to mayor@ohmtown.com. I'm using a transmitter and a receiver. And maybe by next show, I'll be doing it with a wireless mic. This will be gone, but we'll try it out. We'll see what happens. Anyway, this next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Emissions from pharmaceutical consumption have almost doubled in 24 years, a study finds. So pharma emissions.
Right, not farm emissions.
Not pharma emissions, pharmaceutical emissions.
Right.
Pharmaceutical emissions? I don't know. Greenhouse gas emissions related to pharmaceutical consumption increased by 77% over the past 24 years, according to Leiden University, published at the Lancet Planetary Health. Moreover, efficiency gains have stalled since 2008. So our best option, they say, is reducing consumption and minimizing waste, says Rosalie Haganars, the lead author. When you click that little link, you'll get taken over to here. I don't have an ad blocker on the thing, so I don't know why it does that. But anyway, Leiden University put this article together. It's over at phys.org. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. So it's a splash image of a bunch of pills for those who are listening via the podcast. And it says people don't often consider the environmental consequences of taking painkillers, antibiotics, or prescribed medication. However, pharmaceuticals have a significant carbon footprint. Moreover, greenhouse gas emissions related to pharmaceutical sector. Everything okay?
Yeah, and the only thing I've seen, obviously, there are issues with people taking improper amounts of painkillers, etc., or what was the other thing? Oh, people not properly disposing of pharmaceuticals. But this is a new issue that I've never seen.
So what are they actually saying in this when you observed it, when you read this?
Well, I haven't read ahead, but I think this is literally the production, like think of a factory, and
Right.
they're contributing to, you know,
Greenhouse gas
smog and
emissions.
all those types of things. And I think most people probably consider pharmaceuticals, depending on the type, to be a good thing, right? They're medicines.
You didn't hear that cough, did you?
No.
Okay.
But I've never heard of this specifically for this. I mean, we hear about factory pollution, et cetera, but not in the pharmaceutical industry, I don't think.
This seems like it would be a weird angle of attack because the benefit of pharmaceutical use outstrips the cost of the carbon footprint. And I don't want to have to choose between me continuing my existence.
Exactly. You don't want somebody with a chronic condition going, oh, well, I guess I can't have my medication. I mean, but I think this is good because it shines a spotlight on it, and maybe they can make some adjustments that don't impact the actual product.
Find efficiencies, because that's what one of the things that they mentioned, the efficiencies have stalled, but I think there's a profit motive there. And when you have to keep on driving profits to investors, you end up having to pick and choose where your battle is. And you don't want to necessarily die on a hill in an attempt to not have people die on a hill. So it says, until now, most estimates of pharmaceutical emissions were piecemeal, focusing on individual drugs rather than the whole system. A recently expanded database via the OECD Adding statistics from Africa and Southeast Asia enabled this more complete picture. Many other databases are heavily dominated by high-income countries, corresponding author Ranran Wang says. So they say the growing pharmaceutical consumption is the main cause. So people are consuming more pharmaceuticals, but if it's extending humans' lives...
Right. I mean, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the message here is don't make pharmaceuticals, but
yeah, which is...
is anybody paying attention to how they're produced, not necessarily what is being produced?
Yeah, I think it should be how, and the profit margin can't be the dictator of what course of action. You have to choose the greenest option to save the planet and all of society everywhere. Because it's not like, oh, the smog over China doesn't impact anything else. You know, the smog over the United States wafts all over the planet.
Right, and we saw that just as a basic example when there were wildfires in Canada and then they covered portions of the US. And I mean, it could have been
Right.
anywhere.
And vice
yeah.
versa, you know, stuff that happens in California blows across the United States, and stuff that happens somewhere else blows somewhere else. I mean, when Chernobyl blew up, it blew radioactive dust all over the region.
Right.
I don't know why we're so
even just the
narrow-minded about this.
volcanic ash, right? We've seen that
exactly.
where it's like entire continents away.
Yeah, so I don't know. Reducing consumption is the best option to lower footprint, which I think is just a bullshit argument. I don't think that people should have to choose between societal health and greenhouse gas footprint, but they're saying reducing consumption is a focus on minimizing waste, which is fine. With a focus on minimizing waste, fine. That's fine,
Right,
but don't say consumption.
Right, but they don't necessarily mean that, oh, we need fewer packs of Tylenol or whatever. What they do mean is they need lesser packaging on a pack of Tylenol, and they also, and I'm just picking Tylenol at random, and they need ways to essentially recycle or return the Tylenol if it's not used. So it's not that the people are taking a medicine, it's how it's packaged, what happens if it's not used, etc. There was some section in the article I think you went past that kind of got into some of that.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically saying the medicines that are consumed without better oversight and accountability, these emissions remain largely invisible. It's basically talking about the dissemination and then recovery of the drugs and the accoutrement around the medication.
Well, the other problem is, as we know, costs often drive where things are produced, and then there may or may not be the same safety or environmental protections in place, etc. So then, in a more developed country, somebody's using medicine, but it's being regulated. Polluting in another country, for example, which again impacts everybody.
Yeah, but don't lift up the rug. You don't want to see what's underneath it. Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Tesla hit with massive Cybertruck recall after giant pieces kept flying off. After becoming a massive target for ridicule and vandalism, Tesla's Cybertruck has been hit with the 8th recall because a giant piece of metal that was simply glued to the exterior kept flying off. In total, 46,000 trucks have been sold since the car went on sale in November of 2023, and they are affected by this recall, according to...
Was the door panel person on vacation?
It's the exact same person that screws those door bolts in.
Oh, now I get it. They have multiple side gigs, and they're working multiple jobs at the same time.
Yeah, there's no employee-employer loyalty, so they were just moving from one job to the other and back to the other one, back to the other one. So 46,000 trucks have been recalled. As Reuters reported, it's likely the vast majority of the trucks on the road, and unlike some of Tesla's recalls, which can be fixed via a software update, like, I don't know, trapping three teenagers inside a vehicle, and it just... Never mind. Anyway, you'll have to look that one up on your own. I don't have the heart to say it out loud. Well, this one is going to require every single truck to come into a service center. So when you click that link, you get taken over to Futurism. The article is put together by Victor Tengerman. Quote, I've always wanted a car with a roof that flies off for no reason. Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I
little
mean,
bit
this
of,
is a secret way to get a convertible.
yeah, but it's piecemeal and it turns into a flechette round flying through space. So the news comes after owners were told over the week, or the last week, that there was a containment hold on all deliveries, whatever the hell that means. Basically, it means by containment hold, they mean you better hold on to every piece of metal that's going to be treated as shrapnel from your
I thought
Cybertruck.
they were holding on. They were just terrified at what was going out the door or something like at the factories.
Previous recalls have involved windshield wipers that struggled to travel across the truck's enormous windshield, a trim piece that trapped the accelerator in the downward position, a faulty inverter that turned the truck into a massive 6,600-pound brick. For many weeks now, owners have rung the alarm bells, warning that the cantrail, a body panel that stretches across most of the Cybertruck's exterior roof ledge, could fly off at any time thanks to shoddy workmanship and glue that doesn't hold up, especially in colder temperatures. I just read about somebody who posted, it's 8 degrees outside. My truck has been charging overnight and it went from 27 to 26% charge.
Oh
And they
no.
don't think they can make it to a supercharger.
That's kind of a problem.
Yeah, because of the
Hope they
cold.
don't have any emergencies.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, driving. So the recalled component uses only a structural adhesive to join the assembly. The structural adhesive has been found to be susceptible to environmental embrittlement. It's yet another damning sign that the construction of Tesla's purportedly bulletproof truck, which it isn't, once described as an armored personnel carrier from the future by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, leaves a lot to be desired. Yeah, it's hot garbage. So the latest recall was unsurprisingly met with a plenty of gleeful derision on social media. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Oh, that quote was from the Onion CEO.
oh, lovely. All right, let's keep going. We've got a bunch of news and we can play catch up with. So the next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. That's one of our weekend shows if you're interested in that. It's the actual last show on Sunday night. It's a 30-minute show, typically.
Right, so you need to watch all the shows to get to that
You have
one.
to go back and watch over 2,000. I think we're like at 2,100 or something like that. Anyway, electric motorcycle maker Energica, I guess, is up for sale for just $4.6 million, which the starting bid, it's auction.
Yeah, for a whole company though.
There's a reason why it's up for sale. The starting bid was just $3.5 million, but you could walk away with Energica for a reserve price of $4.65 million. Not bad for an entire motorcycle company. That's what the sentient AI said from the future. When you click the link, you get taken over to jalopnik.com. Amber De Silva put the article together. Actually, these aren't bad looking, at least.
Right, but how long do they take to charge, etc.?
Well, that is battery physics. So depending on the size of the battery, it's going to take 2 hours, all the way up to 8 hours. But I doubt that these have the same as a EV. So now there's a chance for Energica name to become something once again. The company's going up for auction, and some lucky buyer will walk away with everything from the name and branding to intellectual property, and even unfinished and prototype motorcycles. The starting bid is just $3.5 million, but you could walk away. Well, it's literally up for auction, so it must be, right?
But if you get the reserve price and nobody bids against you.
Well, you can just bid $3.5 million and everybody else has to flinch. Like, do I want to plop down $3.5 million? It's a starting bid. It's going up for auction. I don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's in Italian. It is. Anyway,
the auction site.
The auction site, yeah. Asta Guidiziania, or Ziaria, sorry. Don't try to say it in the way that I say it. Don't give it my Harvard try. I never went to Harvard, obviously. Anyway, so they've got a bunch of motorcycles. They've got prototypes. You'll get the IP, you'll get the company and the brand name. I don't know if Energica really grabs me marketing wise, but its current inventory written in some sort of indecipherable secret code called Italian. Oh, yes. I heard of this through careful
Such a
application.
mystery language.
So they say that it's a various bit of this and that in various states of incompleteness. There's also a type of very fancy storage shelving valued at over $150,000. Really, you couldn't afford to not buy this bundle for that. That's what they say in the article. Anyway, Energica will likely go to one of two types of buyers, either a bright-eyed idealist bent on bringing the brand back like Norton, or a cynic who wants to plaster the name on shirts and use the company to take investment funds for personal use like Norton, it says here. Hear the story,
Wow, they're
this
really
link
picking
here.
on Norton today.
Yeah. See, I would be right in the middle of that. I am a bright-eyed idealist who wants to bring back, well, not bring back, but bring forward electric vehicles. I don't like this type of technology because somewhere in here is a battery pack and it's impossible to get to without dismantling the bike. So it takes forever to.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it's not going
anyway.
to be hot swappable.
Yep. No, right now it's just hot dumpster fire. Anyway, so there you go. Good luck to Energica, or you bright-eyed dreamer, you, whoever it is that puts down 3.5 million
Maybe
to
they'll
start.
rename it if they buy it.
What would they name it to? Not Energica?
Yes. Energica not.
Energica not. Let's keep going. The next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Another raw pet food recalled after bird flu sickens 2 cats, which sucks. California pet food company has recalled raw chicken products after they were linked to bird flu infections in 2 cats and suspected in a third in New York. That's not good. Click the link, you get taken over to fizz.org. And I guess Edwards. I don't know what that looks like, an I. Oh, Savage cat food.
Oh, neat. They look like little briefcases or something.
Yeah. Secret packages. And it has a really cool logo. It's a hexagon. It's the bestagon. And that right there is not what it's a little cat ear.
Yeah, and the handle. I like that. The cutout.
Yeah, it's a little knockout. Yeah, cutout. So Savage Pet, based in El Cajon, California, recalled one lot of large and small chicken boxes due to potential contamination with type A H5N1, which is the old school influenza virus, commonly known as bird flu. There's different iterations of H5N1 now. The recalled boxes contain individually packaged products and are stamped with a lot code and best buy date of 111522026. They were distributed to California, Colorado, New York, Pennsylvania, Washington State. The New York City health officials urged pet owners to avoid Savage Pet products after the reported cat illnesses, and one cat that ate the recalled food became sick and died, unfortunately. Another is sick, also died. No, 2 died. Tested positive for bird flu.
It was just exposed to the sick cat. Or a sick cat, maybe not the same one. Yeah, that's sad.
Wow. By proxy. The third cat ate the food, became ill, but survived and was not tested. But how is that in there then?
Because that's a suspected case. I think they try to take a broad net just in case it is. They don't want other similar instances.
So cats can contract the virus through contaminated food, milk, contact with infected animal, wildlife, etc., etc. Say the CDC. Who knows how many more of those type of announcements are going to get made. Cats. Other recent recalls include Wild Coast Raw's frozen boneless raw chicken cat food. Basically anything raw tends to
that's
be
been
suspect.
The theme with the bird flu issues with pet food. So it's not that all raw food is bad, but I think it has the highest risk.
Yeah, and they need to find a way to irradiate it or something, so that it's no longer... what is that called? When you superheat something briefly to autoclave. They basically need to autoclave this stuff so that it kills everything bacterial, viral, or anything, but that also cooks it. Anyway, the veterinary expert at Cornell University advises pet owners to avoid feeding animals raw or unpasteurized, and that's basically the autoclave process. You heat it up, but you don't necessarily have to cook it. Food due to the risk of bird flu, salmonella, listeria, and E. coli. So they say I wouldn't give my animals raw anything. It's all about cooking.
Well, I mean, that's probably safest. It's funny saying that because, of course, animals do eat raw meat in the wild, but
Yeah. Yeah, and mine do. Mine are supposed to be eating raw everything, but nope. At any rate, follow the link through ohmTown, go over to phys.org, read more about it. You can click on the internal links to the site there and get more information. Knock-on information is always just as important as the primary ones. So let's keep going. Next article is over on WarCrafters. ChatGPT faces legal complaint after a user inputted their own name and found it accused them of made-up crimes. But if I put their name in and I don't get made-up crimes, does it matter?
right. But how would you know? You'd have to test like 100 people putting it in or something.
Yeah, so I'll put their name in, that person right there. A Norwegian man named Arve Holman, I think, I don't know, recently struck up a conversation with ChatGPT to see what information OpenAI's chatbot would offer when he typed in his own name. The problem there is if there is only one person that's named that, then I'd buy into it. But there's got to be other people that are named this.
Right, and we don't know whether that's a common name in Norway.
Yeah. Or combinations of it. And it goes back to this.
True. Yeah.
AI hallucinations are a well-documented phenomenon. You cannot trust that. Anybody who trusts AI bullshit there's a problem there. You can't trust it. So large language models are made by taking a best guess at a word which most likely come next and don't understand things like context. They're prone to simply making stuff up, and that's not quite true. There's a lot of ratioing there where there is some context, but it's basically wordplay, a word association.
It's like they mix all the things together. Like if they have 4 facts and 2 of them go with 2, they might swap which ones are connected or something.
Yeah, and there's this random roll almost, but it's based on various weighted measures and stuff like that. And I don't know. AI is just a bunch of crap, but I buy into AI because I've seen it firsthand when it's siloed and it becomes a subject matter expert within that silo, but you always have to verify everything that it says. It just allows you to move faster to aggregating information, and it's different than a sentient AI from the future. That is it is an entity. So in the future, when we have artificial general intelligence and it gains sentience, like the co-host, it's going to be a different animal.
Arguably.
Yeah, really. As it falls asleep and powers down. So, I don't know what that sound was. Anyway, so now there may be legal recourse.
That was me powering down.
Oh, that you were falling asleep. But the way that it sounded, it was like you were making this weird noise with your nose, but you don't have a nose because you're a sentient AI on a Raspberry Pi. Anyway, so AI hallucinations are far from harmless, but I think they are harmless until somebody takes action. And if that person takes action, they are the liability. It isn't the AI. You cannot trust AI, and we need to have culture that agrees with that and doesn't buy into it. AI
this is the same culture that thinks just because somebody states something that it's true, or just because they see a made-up picture that it's true. The point is,
right.
Not everybody's using critical thinking.
Yeah, or doing any due diligence. So Jess Kinghorn over at PCGamer.com put the article together. So they put their name into ChatGPT. Allegedly, it spun a yarn falsely claiming that he'd killed his own sons and had been sentenced to 21 years in prison via TechCrunch. The creepiest aspect around the story that it made up, the ChatGPT included some accurate, identifiable details about Holman's personal life, which are such as the number and gender of his children, as well as the name of his own town. You know what's nutty about all of this?
Streisand effect.
Well, not just that. Wow, do they say that in this? Or no?
No, but I'm thinking this is drawing a lot of attention to this person and their circumstances.
Yeah, I wouldn't have brought any attention to this, because if you go into some other open AI instance and do a search, it may not come out with all of that kind of stuff. But let's find out. Maybe they talk about it more. But
I hope they made up the name for this article and say that.
Yeah, I hope so too. Somehow I doubt it. This might be, if you amplify the negative outcome and then use it as the premise to gain money compensation, then no, any valid court would sit there and go, no, you amplified it by talking to TechCrunch about it. But you're also like throwing yourself out there to gain attention. But here's the kicker for this. Not just 2 days ago, maybe, watched the Castle episode where an AI was sitting there. It was last night was one instance, but they had another instance. Pazuzu was the one last night.
Oh, yes.
That was an AI. That was actually...
I was thinking of the other AI storyline. Got it.
Oh, it wasn't Castle. It was the Rookie. And then in Castle, 2 days earlier... yeah. That's why I got mixed up. In a Castle episode, maybe 2 days ago, they were talking about AI as well, where the AI basically was controlling the house and got jealous and stuff like that.
Jealous. It reminded me of Eureka episodes, with the smart home and everything.
Yeah. So the privacy rights advocacy group Noib soon got involved. The organization told TechCrunch they carried out their own investigation as to why ChatGPT could be outputting these claims, checking to see if perhaps someone with a similar name had committed the crimes. Ultimately, they could not find anything substantial along these lines. Substantial? Doesn't matter. If they found anything that allowed them to tie things together, then the AI has the potential to do that too. And what other things front-loaded it so that it responded in a creative story effort? I mean, I use AI.
Did the person say, hey, make an outlandish story about me?
Right. Yeah. So, however, Noib have previously filed complaints on the grounds of ChatGPT outputting inaccurate information about public figures, was not satisfied to close the book here. The organization has now filed a complaint with Data Tilsynet, the Norwegian Data Protection Authority, on the grounds that ChatGPT violated GDPR. But unless it's using absolutely viable information, just because if you posted this information about your children, gender, etc. out there, it, gobbled up all of that information, and it's a reference.
A bunch of different things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't post personally identifiable information. You're nuts. So ChatGPT can make mistakes. Consider checking important information. And then it says, you're absolutely right. They have this little article or a little screenshot in here. You agree to the terms, then have read the privacy policy. Don't share sensitive information. Chats may be reviewed for safety and abuse prevention. So Noib also alleges that by its nature, ChatGPT does not comply with Article 15 of GDPR. Simply put, there's no guarantee that you can call back whatever you fed into ChatGPT or see whatever data about you that's been fed into its data set. On this point, Noib shares this fact understandably still causes distress and fear for the complainant. Don't put personal information out there.
Right, but I think this article is making the point that maybe that person didn't.
Where else was it?
Maybe somebody else pulled it. Like, I don't know, maybe they scraped records from a school or whatever it was.
Yikes. Yep. So it could have been gobbled up from a data broker.
But it could have easily been their own information on a social media site. People are not very protective of their information.
Yep. And always, ChatGPT can make mistakes. Consider checking important information. I agree.
You know, if you do a search and it says something like your hair color is wrong, that's a little lesser than saying somebody killed their offspring.
Yeah. Yep. I get it. Let's move on. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Some cats may be good therapy animals. You just got to protect them. Don't give them any raw meat.
That's right. Cook it.
The food, not
Not the pet.
somebody out there. So, new research suggests that some cats might have what it takes to join the ranks of therapy animals, bringing their purrs, gentle headbutts, and calm demeanor to the field, except that they attack greebles and shadow beasts out of nowhere. Anyway.
Jump out of out of unknown locations.
Yeah, onto your head. So for years, therapy dogs have ruled the world of animal-assisted services, offering stress relief to college students, hospital patients, and those in need of emotional support. I like my emotional support alligator, and I need it when I take my flight.
Does everybody else like your emotional support alligator?
Not the person on the seat where the nose is pointed. Tail,
Right,
not so
they're
much.
like, can you point your emotional support alligator in the other direction?
The person on that side got upset when it emotionally supported them. And anyway, so a study in the journal Animals, co-authored by Washington State University professor Patricia Pendry in collaboration with researchers in Belgium, found that therapy cats share specific behavioral traits that make them well suited for AAS programs. So basically, a cat cafe, you should go to a cat cafe, sip on some bean juice, and embrace these emotional support cats. That's what they're there for, and then adopt one.
What's the punchline?
There's no punchline. Go and get a cat. So new research suggests that some cats may have what it takes to join the ranks of therapy animals. The article is posted by Washington State over at futurity.org. And it just says there's this perception that cats just aren't suitable for this kind of work. But their study shows that some cats may thrive in these settings. And I think if in here, Maine Coons, ragdolls, I knew it. Both of those.
Yeah, I do think the breed makes a difference here. I don't
For
think
sure.
it's all or none either way, but I think there are definitely cat breeds that are more disposed toward either being calm or hanging out with people versus being independent.
Yeah, high sociability, willingness to engage with people. Of all of the breeds that I've ever interacted with, ragdolls are awesome. Maine Coons are awesome. It says here they may be considered more sociable, but and then it said the study did not examine differences in behavior based on breed. In fact, the research only examined individual differences in behavioral traits within groups of cats rather than between species or breed. But again, ragdolls and Maine Coons, you do not want a Savannah. You do not.
Not for a therapy cat.
Not for a therapy cat. Yeah, for a family, for joining the ranks of your family members.
Lots of activity, yes.
If you want 7 to 8 foot vertical leaps easily, if you want it to sound like a stampede of herding elephants, a stampeding herd of elephants, not herding elephants, but oh my gosh. Well, anyway, the goal of the study isn't to suddenly promote cats into therapy work. Pendry says it's about recognizing that some cats may genuinely enjoy this kind of interaction and, in the right setting, can provide meaningful support to people who need it. And I would suggest they could probably vet this by going to a cat cafe, and the cats that like hang out and purr and rub up against people and stuff like that willingly. They're not getting chased down and, given
Right.
a kitty downer medication or anything like that. Then I think that's what they should do. But I love this idea. Therapy cats.
I do too. I don't think people have this perception that cats don't want to be around people, and I don't think that's really the case.
Oh,
But
I don't
if
think
you're
that
not around a cat, you don't know that.
the cat distribution network pretty much means that cats get distributed evenly. And Let's
I
keep
think they
going.
get unevenly distributed.
Boop. Yeah, I'm booping the cat's nose. Boop. Aw,
Yes,
and it's
that
a cat.
that photo looks fake because of the snuggling dog and cat.
But that happens. Um, so just for some context, used to rescue these kind of last ditch effort animals. And one that was rescued did not like any of the other rescues. And so found a place for them. And we kind of thought that it would have a great personality, even with any animal, any dog, because it didn't get along with cats. And sure enough, it loved the new home that we gave it, and it was a dog house. And this cat had the best personality. If I could do it all over again, I would have found forever homes for all of the others just to keep that cat. But boy, oh boy, that cat was awesome. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Marvel Channel. Crime novelist accused of bank robbery. Again, a serial bank robber who doubles as a fictional crime novelist allegedly struck again in the Detroit area just a year after being in prison for the same crime.
Do
Dorian
you think
Trevor
his
Sykes.
stories are about bank robberies?
I don't know. It's just kind of fascinating, right? The author's been accused of robbing the Credit Union 1 in Sterling Heights and the Chase branch in Luthrug Village in the span of a week during early to mid-March. They were arrested on Tuesday after allegedly robbing these two financial institutions near Detroit. According to Matthew Willard, a police officer assigned to the FBI's Macomb County Gang and Violent Crime Task Force. We'll follow the link. It takes us over to vice.com. Sammy Carmella put the article together. A man assumed to be Sykes walked into a Credit Union 1 on March 6th and stated this is a robbery. At least he's honest and communicative. Then he allegedly asked for big bills, ended up leaving with $10,169 in a black crossover vehicle, possibly a Mercedes sedan. So that $10,000 probably paid for 1 or 2 months at current interest rates. Let me tell you, for an author, those are some big bills. Willard added that the robber pointed to his right side as if to imply he had a weapon. This time, the man fled in a Rolls-Royce SUV with around $3,400. This guy. A Rolls-Royce
I wonder
SUV.
if the bank thief is also stealing cars in the process.
But they would have that, right? There would be a complaint. Somebody stole my Rolls-Royce SUV?
You'd think so.
Through cell phone pings, fingerprints, matching vehicle, evidence pointed to Sykes as the likely suspect. Sykes is the author of several crime novels, which is ironic, seeing that he has a passion for breaking the law. I guess he had a ton of time to write. That his 17-year prison sentence and then yet another subsequent similar sentence. What?
How many banks did he rob? Like, that seems like a long time in
41.
prison, especially if nobody was harmed.
In fact, his author bio on Barnes & Noble reads Dorian Sykes was recently released from prison after serving well over 10 years behind bars. During his time of his lengthy incarceration, he penned several highly notable street novels, including his Going All Out trilogy. Currently residing in Detroit, Mr. Sykes is constantly working to give readers new hot material in their area.
The hot material. Perhaps this arrest will lead to even hotter material.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, as a novelist themselves, that's Sammy Caramella. I must say I'm quite intrigued, not by the alleged armed robberies, of course. I think he may have taken his book research a bit too far. I think maybe he took his book research a bit too far. That sounds clunky to me, but hey, I'm not his editor. Anyway, kind of fascinating. So this is like Castle, but getting thrown in jail,
right,
writing
it's
novels.
Like flipped around, I guess.
Yeah. He'd have to investigate himself. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over on Late Night Geeks, which is one of the shows that I'd really like to do, but I'm the mayor of a town and I have to live between the hours, primarily working hours of what seems to be 6 a.m. and 2 a.m., but never mind that. Anyway, Spotify debuts Hot Concerts Near You. No, it's Concerts Near You playlist for discovering nearby shows. On Wednesday, Spotify launched a new personalized playlist designed to help listeners discover upcoming concerts in their area. Click here. You'll meet hot new concerts
That
in
sounds
your
like an
area.
infomercial.
Yep. All you have to dial is SPOTI. Oh my God, that's a phone number. SPOTIFY. You could actually.
Okay, but we're not saying to go dial it.
Don't dial that. Because, like, I misdialed SOS Apple as S0S Apple, and that turns into something else entirely. Don't dial that. Anyway, it updated every Wednesday with 30 songs from artists performing nearby, along with full event details and ticket links. Spotify partners with ticketing platforms like AXS, Dice, Eventbrite, and Ticket. Bleh. So
Is that their
click
new
the
name?
link. Yes. You get taken over to TechCrunch.com. Lauren Forrestal put the article together. There's a bunch of information over here. I won't be able to go through it all, but here's something that I think I'm going to end up having to do. So I wanted Mix War to be a thing. But the problem there is there's all these contexts that don't align for me to do VODs, but it is licensed by the platform where I can stream. It just can't be recorded for distribution. That's why you need a synchro license and permission from each individual person giving you the right to stream whatever it is. But if you stream it without VOD, so it's not on demand, you don't need the synchro license, and they have ASCAP and what the heck?
To your earlier point, not all cats are therapy cats.
Yeah. So the launch of the new playlist signals the company's ambition to make event discovery a more significant aspect of the overall Spotify listening experience, while also providing artists with more visibility. Anyway, I'm thinking of spinning up the whole Mixwar concept again, or under the Smasher Trash name, that channel would allow people, we would be able to play the music, people could vote, but it wouldn't be on VOD and it wouldn't be streamed and recorded on YouTube or Twitch. It just go out to the ephemera, and I would track all of the people that come and go. That way, if there is any licensing issues, I have the accountability there. And it's usually you pay for the number of people that come in during a song, and you track that kind of stuff, and it's easy. Anyway, considering doing that. At any rate, that's it. Go over to TechCrunch and read the rest of this. Essentially, Spotify wants to make local music a more relevant part of your listening experience so that you can find local concerts and drive
Which
traffic.
is good. There's nothing worse than looking up an artist to see if they're touring and you find they were just in your area.
Hot artists in your area?
Exactly. Now we're back to the late night infomercials.
Let's keep going. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Employees say block lists are happening across all industries, from tech to hospitals. I'm just going to click on the link and it'll take us over to the source, which is Business Insider. I didn't log in, so I don't know if I'll be able to actually talk about this. But anyway, it says this originally appeared in Business Insider Today's newsletter. You can sign up by going over to this particular link at the bottom of the list of our coverage today. Something weird is happening with the sentient AI. So they talk about this blacklist thing. So what's going on is block lists make it impossible for an employee to be rehired if you get fired or walk away from a company. And to me, I think that should be just as illegal as a blacklist that gets distributed from employer to employer.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know, somebody could leave a position for all kinds of reasons. Doesn't mean they shouldn't. Now, that doesn't mean you have to hire them back, but you should at least consider them if they're qualified.
Right. So Laszlo Bock, a former Google HR chief, was shocked by Business Insider's report. Quote, "I've never heard of anything like this," he wrote in a LinkedIn. I've sometimes heard an exec say, don't ever rehire this person, but never seen a large-scale systematic approach like this. And what's more shocking is the practice may be more widespread than many realize. Many employees only found out that they were on the list after they had already left their companies and tried to rejoin. More may still not even know that they're on them. A nurse with 38 years of experience told Business Insider that if a manager has a beef against an employee, they can easily keep them from being hired again. And a former employee of a major chip company said that they were banned for life from working there despite a promotion and a raise right before they were laid off. Why? No one seems to know. I had heard about that story separately.
Wow. Well, and that's especially a problem if it's a major company and it's across their whole system. It's one thing if it's like a 10-person company.
Yeah. So this article is actually kind of truncated. You can click on a link at businessinsider.com and go over to an article that has the URL that says how block lists affect your job search and career advancement in 2025. Now, just so you get the proper context of all of this, we don't know the full context of this article until we click on the link that kind of teased us into it. And that's what ohmTown does. We get a little headline, we get a truncated piece of the article, and although they supply more to ohmTown, I forced the system to truncate it so you can see where it just chopped it off. We don't want any more. And we do that throughout all of the supplied headlines and articles. We don't want the whole article. We want just enough to tease us and you into going over to the various sources. And we do this every day. Monday through Friday is Non Sequitur News proper. We do 10 articles. Bring you back to the front page. Within ohmTown are 7 other podcasts that are built from various channels here at ohmTown.com. There's 7 of them. So on Saturday is Reality Hacker, and then Wanted, and then the Continuity Report. They all have their own niche topics. And then on Sunday is?
We have WarCrafters, Technology Today, and 4-Wheel Tech.
Yep. So again, they all have their own niche topics. It's only 5 articles, but we do 3 shows. So it turns into an hour and a half when it's combined and then posted as Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition. But each individual show is also a podcast. Wherever you catch pod, download it from Apple. That's where it lands first, and then it gets distributed out to everything. But it's always over on YouTube as well. Over 2,000 episodes. We're now coming on the end of the 3rd month of our 4th season. So we're kind of chewing through this. 2025, first quarter's almost done. A lot of things have happened. Anyway, that's it. Welcome to ohmTown. I'm leaving though. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Mayor Watt. I'm saying bye, and I'm taking the AI with me.
Bye-bye, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for today's Non Sequitur News. Come back tomorrow for another episode.
Bye-bye, everybody. Beep, beep. I'm a Jeep.